Right, there we go. Hello people. How you doing? Hello Stein. How you doing, man? How's things? Where are we at? Yeah, cool. I think that's good. Check. Uh, Hello Chris. How you doing? Sweet. I think we're good. Right. Awesome. Let's get started. Oh, I need to refresh the chat box because every week it just doesn't pick up what thing. Refresh the cache of the current page. Hello, Harry. How you doing? No. Okay. Let's try again. Nope. Okay. Right. Well, I'll just keep pressing this button and hopefully it will. There we go. There we go. Right. Um. Nice one, Chris. Hello, Starman. How you doing? How's things? Hope you're well. Things are okay, and I am okay. That's probably the best synopsis. Hello, Riley. How you doing, man? Just popping in to say hey. Awesome. How's the PC? I would possibly concur with Stein there. Hello, how you doing? How is things? How is everybody's week been? Nice, nice. Wow, that is top class Murica. Nice. But fair play, fair play. I'm gonna make the chat big so I can read it. Good so far, and yours? Yeah, kind of mixed. I I bought a mountain bike at the weekend because I like mountain biking. In fact, we were talking about it with Chris. And uh, the wonderful joys of lots of pain meant that this shoulder is wrecked. And has been basically from the day that I got it, which means I haven't been able to ride it at all. so, so it's quite frustrating when you spend a decent amount of money on something and then can't immediately you know use it at all. Voodoo Hoodoo 2018 version, the blue one. It's cold and wet here in Texas. Feels like I'm in the UK. Nice. How cold is cold? And can you tell me in Celsius? Because I don't know Fahrenheit. um, What router or access point should I get? Lesser is better. I don't know. How much is nothing? Like, how much is cheap? Um, Torn of my GPU choice, RX 590 or 1660 Super. So the Super, as Chris points out, or Gamer Chris rather than Chris H, points out, is that yes, uh, the Super is definitely faster. Um, you don't really at this price point, and especially now that Nvidia have added the uh, support for G-Sync on FreeSync monitors. Um, Nice. That's about the same temperature as here, Mac. Nice. But yeah, uh, because they don't have because they now support G-Sync or FreeSync, I suppose. You have very similar feature sets, and it's pretty hard to distinguish them overall. So yeah, pick whatever's the best value for money in terms of performance, I would say, unless there is a specific feature that one of them has. But I'm guessing since you're torn between the two, maybe that's not the case. So yeah, if you can get a good value for money, then go for the one with the best. I appreciate that's not a very definitive answer. Sorry. Um, what other M words down? What did you think of the NVMe PCIe 4 add-in card? Just been reading up on them, as NVMe SSDs are about the same price as normal SSDs. So when you say NVMe, bear with, just let me. Do you mean like these chonkers? Like the ones that come with heat sinks that are this thick? Because if so, I'm currently reviewing the Sabrent Rocket one, which is interesting. I haven't tested it yet, but it has heat pipes. If I cover my face, maybe it'll focus on it. It almost got there. You got the point for a quarter of a second. There you go. Nice name change, Chris. Nice name change. But yeah, these are great. The only real thing is that they don't do much in terms of real world performance unless you're really going after a specific use case. Yeah, I wouldn't bother necessarily getting them. Now, when it comes to Gen 4 versus Gen 3 SSDs, the Gen 3 ones are oh right, you mean like Intel Optane drives and stuff, right? Or like that kind of PCIe one. Because if so, I've not had much experience with those. In theory, they should be the same as these. The only thing is that the Gen 4 ones I doubt will be the same price. I think Gen 3 ones will be pretty similar price, and therefore, yeah, if you have room in your case, they're like NVMe drives are awesome. But yeah, the faster the better, but within reason, I suppose is my answer there. Yeah, Gen 3. Oh yeah, right. You meant like PCIe X4, not Gen 4. This is confusing. Yeah, fair play. So yeah, I don't have much experience with them. They should be the same because NVMe drives are just PCIe. It uses the PCIe bus. And ostensibly there's nothing special about them. It's still a shared bus anyway. So yeah. Sharpa, what's API, please? API is application protocol interface, if I remember rightly. But like, whose API? Nice. What a great thumbnail. In the Discord, that is. Sabrent Rocket 1TB, have it installed very fast. Nice. Programming interface. That's the one. Yeah. So this is the Gen 3 NVMe drive from Sabrent. Nice. It's in the top slot of my motherboard. Nice, fair play. That's cool. PGR, hello. How you doing? I have always preferred macOS as an operating system, so would like to continue using it, but you think building a Hackintosh is worth it and stable enough to have for a long time, or just stick with native support like iMac or MacBook? So the TLDR there is my Hackintosh Threadripper one was about the same. Like it's still it's pretty reliable from what I've used, but I also don't use it that much. So and yeah, the thing with building a Hackintosh is that you can always just revert back to Windows if you like, if you don't like it or if it's not stable enough or whatever. And so in that case, like, yes, that's fine. And then if you really, really want macOS and you can't get a Hackintosh to be stable, then you can think about buying whatever iMac, Mac Pro, MacBook kind of thing you want, right? Speaking of Hackintoshes and stuff, The first of all, the guys from Junecase said they're interested in sending me the Junecase Pro, which is the, like, well, let's face it, cheese grater like Mac Pro case. And second, they wanted me to mention that their Kickstarter thing is currently still live, ends I think on the 15th. So if you want a cheese grater Mac, you can go check that out. And what was the thing? Oh yeah, it looks really cool. I'll be interested to see what it's like to build in. From what I've heard so far, I think Linus. I know I've watched the video that Linus did, and I think Lou from Unbox Therapy did a video as well. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what it's actually like to build in, and of course put the Threadripper Hackintosh. I'm pointing over there because the Threadripper Hackintosh is sat just the other side of that desk. But to put that in it and you know, have macOS booted on in a case that looks like a Mac will be great. And I'm sure that if I position it all right, you guys can make some memes about how I already own a you know, the new Mac Pro or whatever, and have some fun with that. But yeah, it should be pretty cool. I'm interested. The Junecase looks interesting, but a lot of great cases sub $200 out there already. So while I would agree with you, and actually the case that the Mac Pro or the Hackintosh is in right now, which is the Threadripper, is the Phanteks Sento Evolve X, which I absolutely love and is still probably my favorite case. That I think is sub $200 in the USA, or about $200. But what impressed me most, if I'm being honest, is that the Junecase is made by a pretty indie company, right? I mean, they're literally getting like Kickstarter funding. So it, like, the fact that a case, especially with that level of quality, from what I've seen anyway, is $200 is kind of impressive. If you remember what the people at Case Labs were doing and how expensive Case Labs cases were for like straight sheet metal, was kind of insane. And honestly, I'm wondering if they're actually making a profit or if there are like significant corners they're cutting or something, because it certainly looks like it from the outside. So yeah, that's interesting. Would you think of doing a Hackintosh tutorial? I did one. It has like 20,000 views. Go check it out. No, the video shows everything from creating the bootable USB stick you need, to setting up the Kex kernel extensions, to actually installing it, to then making it a permanent, like, your boot partition and that kind of thing. So yeah, go check that out. Yeah, no. Get around 4.35 gigahertz on my Ryzen 5 3600 single core with 4200 to 4225 all core with precision boost overdrive. Do you think I have a good silicon lottery? So from what I understand, yes, you probably should. Like, that sounds like pretty decent. So yeah, GG. Nice job. Oh, and Chris, you were saying, what you call it? You were saying that you're looking for recommendations on routers and/or access points. And I think Ubiquiti has some good stuff in that range. If not, then ASUS tend to do some decent stuff. I'm sure that D-Link and TP-Link and stuff do reasonably well as well, although I'm not sure at that price point. Yeah, I don't know. Completely new router. Like, what do you currently have? Hello Liam, how you doing, man? Just Cause 4 is free to play for the next 3 days. Maybe do some benchmarks to use in future videos while you can. I mean, it's a kind of reasonably old game, right? So that's not going to be all that useful. Also, me doing benchmarks now is like a great idea, except those benchmarks become basically invalid in like 3 weeks' time when Nvidia releases a new driver, AMD releases a new driver, or whatever else. So yeah. And Jeffriend, does company UK have companies like Pixio that sells quality but cheap monitors? Off the top of my head, I don't know. Um, of the ones that I've seen, are stuff like the Element Gaming line from eBuyer. They tend to be pretty similar to that style of monitor. Um, Other than that, I don't know specific brands like Pixio. It would be very interesting to find some out, though. With that said, I know that AOC do some fantastic options, both at 1080p and 1440p. So, um, ba 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 ba. So the 3600 and 3700X have almost 15% more single core performance than the 9400F. How come the 9400F still gets more FPS than Ryzen's in some games? So while I'm not a game developer or a like game engine designer, my general approximation for that answer would be that certain engines are optimized for certain processors, and because Intel has been the mainstay in the gaming market, a lot of the engines were designed with Intel's architecture in mind. It's only very recently that even people like Windows or Microsoft have implemented CCX aware schedulers. So because basically because of intellectual property, the way AMD goes about things is very different to the way Intel goes about things, and therefore the way that game engines ask to go about things on the processor is more optimized for the way Intel does it than the way AMD does it. Generally speaking, which is why it's only some games that are a drastic advantage for Intel still. That difference I expect to fade out over time as we see more optimization for both platforms. But yeah, that's probably the answer. And Max was saying that with the Junecase Pro, reminds me of the early 2000s where silver aluminium cases were all the rage. Ah, yes. Well, actually, I would say that at that time, I think beige computers were probably the all the rage, at least in my home and in my experience. Do you think it has something to do with AMD's Infinity Fabric? So yes and no. The Infinity Fabric is only the interconnect between the two CCXs, or the multiple CCXs, or between the physical chiplets that are on the die. But yeah, the the single core performance is not necessarily I guess in specifically tied to Infinity Fabric or anything like that. In theory, depending on how the Windows scheduler is handling those requests, it could be sending requests to different cores on different CCXs, and therefore it's having to spend time crossing the Infinity Fabric. So technically, it could be, but it depends on the game, the scheduler, the DirectX or Vulkan or whatever API, and a load of other stuff. Thanks for answering my question on Twitch. Now trying to decide whether between getting a 3900X or a 3950. I know that the 3950X is crazy overkill. Any thoughts, gamer only? So AMD are claiming that the 3950X is the fastest single core performance they have, and therefore the best performance you can get as a gamer, I would probably say that it is still pretty overkill. It depends on how long you're interested in holding on to all those components. If you're thinking that you're going to hold on to those components for the next like 5-10 years, then sure, get the extra cores now, because why not, right? But if you are thinking slightly shorter term, so you're saying 5 years, up to 5 years, I would probably say that the 12 cores should be fine. Which feels like a funny thing to say now, but you know, it wasn't all that long ago that we're talking about 4 cores being fine, and now we're talking about 12 and 16. So yeah, if you're willing to spend the extra, technically you'll get a little bit extra performance and a little bit of extra, I hate the word, future proofing. But otherwise, yeah, the 3900X is the great option. And hello, I'm assuming it's Andy. What's your thoughts on the 3950X and the talk that could be stock shortages like the 3900? So the 3950X looks awesome. I'm all for more cores on the platform, or actually on the same platform. It's kind of impressive. Like I was saying, it wasn't that long ago that we're looking at like 4 cores tops. So to see 16 on the same platform that you see now 2 cores is kind of is crazy. In terms of the performance, we'll have to see what it looks like in real time, or like in benchmarks from like us folk. But yeah, it's cool. I'm interested to see what they actually do with the Threadripper product line once we've seen the rest of it. Obviously, their naming schemes have changed, so the 32 core is now where the 24 core was positioned last year, or current gen. And so I'll be interested to see where they go. Like, I'm assuming that at some point we're getting a 64 core, which is going to be insane. It'll be awesome, but it'll be insane. But I'm also interested to see if they produce any lower end ones. So if they do go down to 24 or 16, like they did last time, because they did have an 8-core Threadripper, which felt a bit weird, but you got the slight advantage of having much more RAM capacity. So yeah. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with that platform too. And in terms of stock shortages, like obviously I want availability for everybody who wants one, but unless they've made any significant changes to the production line, or yield rates are higher, or potentially they've even just been stockpiling enough chips to be able to fill 3950X orders. But yeah, there are lots of ways that it could, like, they could avoid it. It's just whether they've taken any of those ways or not. And hello, Gavin. How you doing? Oh god. What are your thoughts on DRAM calculator? So it's not something that I use personally, because I don't tend to spend all that much time overclocking. Sorry. Almost done. Um, so yeah, if it helps you, awesome. If it doesn't, then don't worry about it. And Chris, yes, I would agree. The 1900 X was the entry level for Threadripper. It's the same. It's the same idea that, like, yeah, we can, like, you can buy this 8-core now, but then you can upgrade to, up to a 32-core now, on the same socket kind of thing later, when you need it kind of thing. So I understand to a point. It's just a bit weird. And no worries, Mr. Smith. Okay. Oh, Kevin, I have to sit through an internet safety day at school tomorrow. Nice. That sounds great fun. um, Yeah. Oh, did I miss anything? Fortnite and PUBG are older but still benchmarks. Yeah, but they're also really popular, which is the main thing, Chris. You were too young then and weren't cool. I know, right? I watched Andy's first GTA 5 video yesterday. Oh god, they're old. Christ, very old. Do you think Nvidia deliberately unopt or that? Do you think Nvidia are deliberately unoptimizing their drivers to obliquely uh, right? Do you think Nvidia are unoptimizing um, are, are deliberately harming the performance of older cards to quietly incentivize people to buy newer ones? No. I would say for a few reasons. While there will be some use cases where, or there will be some cases where you will see benchmarks of a couple generations older card and a couple different driver versions potentially having a minor negative impact on performance. I feel like it's just way too obvious of a thing that like the driver versions are available and you can go back and pick whatever driver version you want on their own website. So it would be far too obvious for them to do that, because people like us will, if we suspect that, we'll go and test it, and then that would be a very bad PR move for them very quickly. Um, and also to give you context, I am running a GTX 1080, which is now, if you include the super cards as a sort of new generation, that's now a 2 or 3 generation old card or whatever. Um, so yeah, that's like that's a thing. And I'm not like, I just upgraded to the most recent driver. I'm not specifically benchmarking every game I play. I'm not noticing a significant oh, performance drop on any existing games I play or new ones like COD that I actually Nvidia gave me the other day. Nice thumbnail again. um, where are we at? Where are we at? With consoles, you got it once and use it for years. With every PC, every single day, something new and better. That as you have pop up on the market is PC spec run is forever. So that didn't really that wasn't a very good flow of a sentence. um, I think the point you were trying to make is that with consoles, you buy it once, like there's one upfront cost, and then um, you can use it for years until the next like generation of console comes out. Whereas with PCs, because it's parts from individual manufacturers, there's always something new you could add. Um, to which I would say, sure, but one a PC, like a console is not a PC. It is exclusively a gaming console. You can only play games on it. Maybe you can say watch Netflix or whatever, but um, it does not have the same amount of functionality as a PC. Two, when it gets to the end of that cycle, uh, you should look at what, like, let's say the games of whenever the PS4 came out versus the quality of the PS3, um, like at the same time as the PC games and the quality they could have, it's a pretty big difference. And point three I would add is that consoles I think all of them now have paid online subscription services which bill you every year. You have more expensive games with less like good avenues to get them cheaply, like sales, and generally speaking, end up costing you about the same as a gaming PC in the long run. Um, so, yeah, there's pros and cons to both. Nice one, SBV YouTube. Good job. And Chris, I would agree with you on your comment about the graphics cards. Would you recommend using an eGPU on a laptop? Have you had any experience using one? So I've actually not had the chance to use one yet. My third person view of it is that while it's kind of cool, and it is a good way to say boost performance on a slower, older, or not originally equipped with a good graphics card kind of laptop, it does tend to limit you to like gaming only when you get home, which is fine because you know that's what I do anyway. But at the same time, I don't carry a laptop around with me all the time, and when I do carry a laptop, it's expressly so I can game when I'm on the go. With that said, I assume the fact that you're asking this question is to ask the question because you already own a laptop that has Thunderbolt 3 and you could go and buy a external graphics enclosure and all that kind of stuff to start running it. And in that case, if you aren't like if you don't want to build a separate PC, which will probably be a similar amount of both price and performance depending on what graphics enclosure and graphics card you get, then yes, it's a good option for you. It just depends on the pricing and performance that you can get for it, really. And if you would prefer having only one machine rather than two separated ones. Locane is the ADATA SX 8100. I assume that's meant to be 8200. I didn't know they did an 8100. But $200 for a 2TB SSD, good deal. Yeah, go for it. Nice one, Stein. What's your opinion on the 3950X? We were talking about this earlier. It looks awesome. I'm all for the expansion of the platform and having the what you call it, like 16 cores on the same platform that you now get dual cores. So yeah, like it's a cool chip. I'll be interested to see what the performance is like. Thank you very much. I'll cover that in a second. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the performance is in the real world, and how big of a difference it is compared to the 12 cores and compared to even like last gen Threadrippers. That'll be kind of interesting to see. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with the Threadripper platform as well. If they release any lower chips than the 24 core they're currently suggest or on the product stack. I'll be interested to see if there is a 16 or lower from that side of things as well. But yeah, it looks cool. I'm interested. SBV YouTube, thank you for spending your now cold hard cash. Do you think I could be a software engineer without going to school? Sounds like a Hail Mary. Don't laugh at me. I think school is a scam. Not laughing. In theory, yes, you can teach yourself, and there are plenty of like classes online and stuff for cheap or for free that you can learn whatever like software development environments that you want to learn. The reason that like I would say you could go to school to do something is specifically just because they have set out the platform for which you learn everything from. So someone like Udemy would be a good option there because it's a kind of halfway in between. The main thing is that from my experience, because I went to college, like I went to sixth form schooling and got A levels in the UK. Not, I'm guessing that since you donated in dollars, that's you're in the USA, and so college means university for you. Anyway, yeah, the the thing with learning on your own is that you don't know what you don't know, and therefore you can't create your own curriculum and then just learn that stuff, because you might be missing something incredibly drastic, that is, say, underlying knowledge that would then let you learn the next set or let you know what you can learn next. So classes or like programs that are specifically designed to teach you everything you need to know would be a good place to start. Um, Andrew, any new parts in your own personal rig? It depends on when you last ask. Ryzen 2700 non-X, 3000 megahertz, 32 gigs, of course, are done at Vengeance. RGB, GTX 1080, 11 gig per second RAM model. Aorus X470 Gaming 7 Wi-Fi board, W Black NVMe drive, the SN700 1 terabyte, Corsair H100i V2 Pro, one of those two, and still the two terabyte drives. In my country, the RX 5700 is $350 with taxes, and the 1660 Super is $280 taxes. Do you think the RX 5700 is worth the price to performance difference? Honestly, I don't know. I haven't looked at benchmark results for the 1660 Super yet. I still haven't. Sorry, guys. Yeah, like, take a look at the benchmarks. If the if the benchmarks give you the whatever that percentage difference is, what's that, like 10% price? Depending on which way you go about it, a bit more. If you get 10% more performance or whatever that percentage difference is, then yeah, go for it. But that does sound like, if I remember rightly, yes, I would go for that. But that does rely on me remembering. Which CPU cooler would you remember from? Recommend for Threadripper. Quick Look leaves me with an NHU14S TR as an option. Any opinions on it? So technically speaking, you can run basically any like anything that comes with an adapter bracket that would work in the TR4 socket. But yeah, I've previously used, in terms of water coolers anyway, the Enermax TR4 and Corsair H150i Pro with the TR4 bracket. But in terms of air coolers, I think that one or the Coolmaster one or the default one from Coolmaster are all decent enough options. And I'm gonna probably butcher this, don't I? Chris is right. The reason why NVIDIA, or the reason why AMD takes so long to optimize their drivers is that AMD's revenue is less than Intel's profits, if I remember rightly. It's been a while since I've looked at their earnings reports, but something like that. In, I think it was like 2015, Intel made $14 billion in profit. So yeah, they're a significantly smaller company, and of that, they're then split in half, CPUs and GPUs, whereas NVIDIA is exclusively graphics stuff, and Intel is a bit of both, but Intel is like twice the size of, actually like 4 times the size of even NVIDIA. So yeah, they're a significantly smaller company. You can frame it as depressing, but at the same time, they're also such a small company for what they provide. Like on the CPU side, let's be real, they're owning Intel, and on the what you call it, on the graphics card side, they're not exactly owning Nvidia, but they're coming out with cards that are pretty comparable, that are entirely different in the way they do things, because of intellectual property. That it's honestly quite frankly insane that they're able to do both and still compete. Like they do compete in both markets, even if they're not exactly excelling in one right now. So yeah, it's that's the insane bit to me. And the fact that they tend to be pretty quick to innovate on stuff like drivers, especially on the graphics card side, even if they're not necessarily optimizing on the driver side, because that's a different story because they have to work with developers there. Yeah, I know, but how long have they been around? No, it's either 25 years or 50 years. Someone correct me. But for the many muck-ups they had, they did 50 years old this year. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, they had like they've had so many incredible performers that it's really impressive. And I should mention, since I'm guessing you don't know the history, AMD bought ATI in the, I want to say, like early 2000s, maybe even more recent than that, like later 2000s. Anyway, they bought ATI, who were the red team for graphics cards, and integrated those teams together. So yeah. Thanks. You can thank Corsair / Elgato for that one, because this is what it used to look like, and this is what it looks like. By the way, this is on 20% brightness, just for the sake of blinding myself. I will dance monkey dance for you. This is how bright it can be. I mean, to be fair, the webcam is doing a pretty good job of keeping up with it, but like, look how small my pupils are. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. So yeah, there you go. Get an IKEA Signum. That's the chair, right? I remember, because I'm pretty sure that I have both sat in one and stayed in one. Or is that? Oh, cable holder. Oh, for there. Right. Yeah. Well, see, the reason that that's nasty is that that's my testing desk. That's the one that, like, everything on that desk changes out every, like, 6 hours. So by putting one there, it wouldn't be I would just be taking everything, like it would be a hindrance to working to cable manage that any better than dangling wire. So yeah. What's the chair called? Um they all have really weird names. I really can't remember. Did I miss anything? Da, 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 da. Very descriptive. The Chari. Nice. I'm pretty sure that's not the one I mean. But the chair that I was thinking of anyway. Oh, you mean like my description? It's the tall backed ergonomic chair that literally everyone in like 2014 bought. um, what's the best graphics card for first time 4K graphics card? Um, 2070 Super or higher. Can the 5700 XT be more comparable to a 2060 Super or 2070 Super? The So Chris says they're between the two, which sounds about right to me. Also, I'm not like all that up on the CPU, the graphics card performance side of things. So yeah. Oh, currently head to head with the 2070 Super. Fair play. Black Dog on Twitch, debating buying the Glorious Model O, Model D when it comes out, or the SteelSeries Rival 310 for my first gaming mouse. Any advice? So I don't have any experience with the Model O or obviously the Model D. Personally, I've heard a lot of good things. I've also heard a lot of bad things. And for context, the only one I do have experience with is the one that's just out of arm's reach. From that list anyway, the Rival 310. There we go. I really like it. It's very comfortable. It's a bit mucky. Has a where am I going? Over here. Really nice sensor, very nice feel and build quality. And I think it's like 40 quid right now. At least on Amazon anyway. So my personal recommendation, and that's only based on having experience with one of them, would be that one. But you have to take that with a grain of salt because I haven't tried any of the other ones. Ben, do you use a NAS? Yes, I use two. I have a QNAP one and a custom built one. Although I'm still trying to work out what I want to use the custom one for properly. I have some VMs on it, which is nice. Free NAS for, well, NAS storage stuff, and then an Ubuntu server as well, so that I can do other stuff and like web development and testing and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that. I can get a 5700 XT thick 2 for £362 on Amazon. Nice. Wait, isn't the 2070 Super like £500? So in that case, that's kind of impressive, right? First, so many notifications. It's cheap. Fair play. 2070 Super is $450, so it's probably £450. That was alarming. Nice. 480 on Amazon. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, I for the regulars, I trimmed the well, and that one, and that one. If you had a chance to buy either GPU, which would you pick? Asking the guys in chat. But yeah. In terms of out and out performance, I'm fairly certain that the 2700 brain 2070 Super is a slightly faster card. Obviously for the performance, and price to performance, the £150 gap probably doesn't justify it. Yeah. Exactly, Stein. But yeah, so I heard slight whisperings about how terrible the drivers are. Does anyone have any like either first-hand experience or sources or better understanding of why people are saying the drivers are awful? Because from my experience with AMD drivers, which I have to be honest is relatively limited compared to my experience with NVIDIA drivers, they're pretty great. Yeah. Just checked the first driver they were launched with, then checked the current one. Gradually increasing in performance. Yeah, I would like that. That tends to be AMD's like calling card, I suppose. why don't you test the Fury when why don't you use the Fury when testing FreeSync? It's faster than the 580. Actually, it's a 480 that's on my desk. The 580 is the one that's in the Hackintosh. And the reason I don't test the Fury much is because I don't really spend all that long testing FreeSync. Like, you know, make sure it works and all that. But, you know, like playing with games like CSGO, for example, it doesn't really matter what graphics card I have. I'm still getting like 400 FPS, so yeah. What is the best GPU for 1440p 140 Hz? So probably like RX 5700 XT, 2070 Super kind of things. And did I wait? Who did I? Oh, Dante said he went with the 2080 Ti instead of a 5700 XT. Fair play, nice job. And never build an ITX high end PC. Nice. Yeah, I've heard they're pretty naff. uh, Bulldogs 1992. Hello, how you doing? Uh, yeah, I mean, is that at 144 hertz though? Like high settings. I can say from first-hand experience, I have a R9 3900X for about 4 years, and all I got was how much underutilized power it had. 8 GB of VRAM, good times. True, although AMD has changed a decent bit in the 4 or 5 years since the R9 series was the thing. I mean, to clarify, I had an R9 280, I think non-X for quite like for a couple of years, and before that I had an HD 7817. Before that I had two 6870s. So I've been down the AMD route before. So I know the pain, but at the same time, I've also like had personally anyway very good experience with their drivers so far. And the fact that you get more and more performance over time is always nice. Again, I think that's more of a battle with the optimization side, and a having pretty small teams, and b having what do you call it just relatively low pull with game developers to be able to optimize their cards for their titles, kind of thing. So yeah. Nice. Uh, Yeah, fair play. Mac, the GTX 1066 gig was my first NVIDIA card since 2005. Was AMD ATI for a very long time. Nice. I think I was kind of similar. I think the 980 was my first NVIDIA card. It was also a review sample. And yeah, that was um, my first NVIDIA card, because the one before that was actually an FX 5200, which was a Pentium 4. I think it was I want to say it was a PCI card, like PCI non-E card, like non-express, but I also it might have been AGP. I'm hinting that it might have been AGP, but yeah, that was my like hand me down PC. What can you say about value depreciation? Nvidia releasing their supercards, making previous cards almost obsolete. What's the comparison for AMD? So I really wish that like F7 was here. F7 Ghost US. He does a lot more on the secondhand market than me. But yeah, from my understanding, the Nvidia cards do tend to tank in value reasonably quickly compared to the AMD ones. Obviously, the whole like cryptocurrency mining thing did tend to shake that system up a bit, but yeah, I think that on the whole, AMD doesn't tend to like supersede their own cards all that quickly. Although they are still as susceptible to really stupid naming schemes and rebranding. So the RX 590 is ostensibly an RX 580 that's ostensibly an RX 480, but an RX 480 is significantly less expensive than an RX 590. So yeah, but the same core count and similar clock speeds. Nvidia cards also tend to appreciate in value. Um, what do you mean? Like if you're talking about new stock of second gen card, like older gen cards, so like the 2070 currently and or when it's like going out, like going out of stock, sure, but that's just a supply and demand thing. That's not Nvidia artificially raising the price of the old ones. That's a supply demand curve change. But if you're talking about the like older like second-hand cards, I wouldn't agree. Pumar Pro, I can buy a 1080 Ti cheaper than a 2070 Super. Is it worth it? Yes, definitely. I mean, out and out, the 2070 Super is still, I'm pretty sure, slower than the 1080 Ti. Because if I remember, the 1080 Ti and 2080 were pretty similar, and yeah, they're ostensibly the same thing. So yes. Oh, nice one, Stein. Nice one. Oh dear, dear me. So yeah, that's graphics cards. I suppose this stream has kind of been about graphics cards. Well, it started off about CPUs, to be fair, and cases, and then went to graphics cards, which is fair. At least it's tech for once. We didn't talk about roundabouts or roundabouts. And Wi-Fi, a little bit about Wi-Fi. Which, sorry, I can't give you many good recommendations, at least off the top of my head, anyway. Yeah. Check out Ubiquiti, see what they have in that price range. Their UniFi platform is pretty expandable as well, but I think it might have a bit too high kind of barrier to entry there. So, yeah. And my shaving preferences, indeed. Well, anyone have any last minute tech questions before we head off? What's your opinion on Razer? Ah, that's interesting. So my general thought on Razer is that they have a very high price tag for seemingly very similar qualities, features, whatever else to competitors. And actually, Razer is the only brand that I have had such a polarizing experience with in terms of commenters. They're the only brand that I've ever heard of to have so many people tell me that they've had to RMA their laptop 3 times, but at the same time, also have people so vehemently defending them. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think their QA could possibly do some work, although I've never personally had a single fault with them. So take that as you will. But yeah, it's weird. Um, Would you recommend? What would you recommend for a mid-range ultra wide right now? Um, depends what you kind of depends what you consider mid-range. If you like, ideally you would still go for 3440 by 1440, because I found that the pixel density of the 2560 by 1080 ones were a kind of pretty naff, especially on the bigger sizes. If you get it in the smaller size, that's fine. Um, but yeah, um, yeah. What I think AOC do some good ones that are in a kind of mid range, that aren't hideously expensive and still have like adaptive sync and that kind of thing. So maybe check them out. Um, nice job. I'm using a 1080 at 1440p. um, right, that wraps up the hour. I will catch you all guys next week. Plenty of videos, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Friday, Monday, Wednesday. So do check those out. And Mac, no, no, I'm not. Otherwise, yeah, I will catch you next week. And yeah, same time Thursday, 8 p.m. UK time. Check it out. Otherwise, I will find the button on YouTube because I need to end it there first. Yeah, I'll catch you there. See you guys.